Yo, what is the dealio? Hey, listen, today I want to do something special. We got a new segment that's starting. We started interviewing people in the Discord that are not only having success, but are changing their life and changing their mindset about everything, all right? So this interview right here, we got our guy, Best Be Killer, all right? He came in the Discord and just started killing it, right? Just started killing it. And really just wanted to interview him and just share his story, right? Because I want you guys to understand that this stuff is possible and I do not want you to overthink it, and anybody can do it, all right? So when we do these interviews, you're gonna start seeing we got people all different walks of life. The stock market is not about what you look like, what you sound like. It ain't about none of that. It's about what's your mindset and how much are you willing to lock in, all right? So without further ado, we're going to get into it. This is the interview. Shout out to Best Be Killer. What is going on, guys? So check this out. This is a new segment that we're going to start doing. It's going to be interviews of people from the Discord and the whole community. So basically, right now, we got our guy, Best Be Killer. Ron, a.k.a. Best Be Killer. But
Yeah, what up?
and so I wanted to just bring him on and just have him talk about his journey and talk about his story with the Discord, trading options and all of that stuff. So with that being said, give me 1 second. Default. All right, cool. So with that being said, man, so we got Ron. So when did you really start trading? Let's really start there. When did you start trading, and then before trading, what were you doing?
Okay, like trading, like that's what I said right after the pandemic. When I got into trading first, I was just looking at the shares. I didn't even know nothing about options. So I'm sitting there looking at like shares and thinking like, how are people talking about making money or living off when you're looking at like the percentages you could get back? You have to have a certain amount of money into there. It has to make so much. So that was a couple years ago, but the options probably maybe like a month and a half ago
Wow.
is when I really actually come across seeing your videos and what stock options were. Because like I said, I was looking for any way to kind of make money or any way to have a steady stream of income if I get hurt at work. Like I said, I just had a bad couple of years, you know what I mean, getting hurt because it's a very laborful, fulfilling job.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I mean, these options, man, and it just started clicking with me.
Right.
Just started figuring it out, reading the charts. So,
Okay. So you only been trading for, like, let's just call it 2 months, right?
yeah.
So 2 months you've been trading, and you found, so you were trading what, like a couple weeks before you found my videos, or what?
Yeah, it was probably like a week or two
Wow.
that I was trading until, because there was a lot of videos at first, and that's why I said there was a lot of, through all the clutter, man, I really wasn't learning nothing until I started stumbling upon your kind of content and stuff, and the way you just told me to start getting out of my head, because I was there for a while scared, because you know what I mean, like I take care of my parents, so they depend on me, you know what I mean, so to make that first initial investment, I worked pretty hard for my money, and that was kind of like holding me back too.
Right. Okay.
Doing it.
How much? So how much did you initially fund your account on, and then your first couple of weeks? Where were, like, did you lose money, or what?
Oh yeah, like my first week, I probably put about $1,000 in.
Okay.
Then by the end of the week, I was down 700 and something. And then the next following week, I did probably the same thing, and probably lost about 6 or so. So I was down, and I was like, man, is this really for me?
Right.
Is this really going to be a path that I can take?
Right.
So,
Dang. So
that's what I mean. It just started.
So you were down like 1,600 bucks.
Yeah.
Okay. So then,
Because what I was doing with working and stuff, I was literally just trying to like almost hoping, like you said, like that gambling kind of thing. I was like, okay, I kind of know this company. I know NVIDIA. I thought it was a good company, and that's what I thought it was going to go up. Then all this, it was around like the DeepSeek. Because when that happened, that was a flush of content through YouTube that I started seeing people too talking about, oh, it's life changing. And so I just started investigating.
Okay, so you was in shares, heard about options. What, when you joined the Discord, did you fund more money in your account, or did you just have like keep the whatever amount that you had?
Yeah, I put a little bit more in. I put another grand in.
Okay.
So, and that was pretty much the last bit that I actually put in out of my money. So.
Okay. So you was like, man, this is pretty much like the last amount that I want to like put in, and then hopefully that this group it could really help us out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really did, because when I first joined the Discord, and it was like at the time I was traveling for my job, so I was staying in a hotel.
Oh, wow.
So literally I was coming back and trying to go, and that's when I started getting into the charts more. You know what I mean? I actually started having strategy and plans that I would follow and execute, and that's when it started paying off.
Okay.
When I was just trusted myself and trusted when I learned.
Okay. Where now just so everybody knows and understands, what do you do for work?
I'm a concrete finisher, mostly flat work.
Okay. So you work in concrete, and how long have you been doing it?
About 20 years, 22 years, concrete total.
Okay.
15 years doing foundations, and the last 7 years being a foreman on a flat work crew. And like I said, I actually found a better job. But it ain't nowhere near what is possible here. I see that now.
It's life changing. Now, before you like really got into options and started trading with us, did you even have TradingView? Were you using charts or anything like that?
It wasn't until your video, when somebody asked you what charts you actually used, and that's when you said you use TradingView, but you use your phone to make your moves. And I was like, that's a perfect setup. So then I started taking my laptop with me to work and running it off my hotspot. So like I said, I was doing a lot of traveling.
Right.
Because I think my first week that I actually was in the Discord with you is when I said I was going down the highway making money.
I remember that. I remember that. And
I was literally, I had my hotspot on my phone, and I had my laptop. You know what's funny? I have the funniest story about that. I was so involved in what I was doing, I ran out of gas on the side of the highway. I had to walk, but a state trooper actually picked me up and brought me back to my car. That's crazy. Like, that's how laser focused I was on, because everything was just all the plays were hitting.
Yeah.
So it was like I couldn't close them fast enough to get to the next one. Like, hey,
right.
You know, it's like I'm not gonna lose that much, but I was just like one less dollar right there. I didn't want to lose it. You know, so
100%, because you started seeing it growing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Okay. So let's go with your first week, right? So it's been what, almost a month now?
Yeah.
Okay. So almost a month. So we're closing in on your first 30 days. Your first week when you started the Discord, how much was in your account total? Was it like 1,300?
Yeah, it was like maybe like 1,285.
Okay.
It's literally because, like I said, I put that last grand in, and that's when I was like, you know what I mean? This is it or nothing.
Right.
I knew I would try it again, but I just knew I had to save up some money while I was just had to focus back on work.
Right.
So, and that's what I mean. And those plays, that was like the Robin Hood and the Palantir, man. That just
it took it off, right?
Yeah. Because at first, like I said, the first week I was like with you in the Discord, I didn't have my earpiece like I do now.
Right.
And now, like I said, now that I chart it out, I come home, I do my charts. I don't, like before, too, I was overcomplicating things a lot. Like a really lot. And that's what I said, like, the way it just you put the terms in, and I was just understanding how much like the orb. You know what I mean? That's a simple strategy,
Right.
especially for someone who's doing something demanding
Yeah.
at work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could just set 2 levels. I set the alerts, and when they go off, that's how I know they close above a line or below a line.
Right.
And boom. And that's what I mean. When I was having faith in what I was doing and what I was charting out, that's when the place started paying off. It really did.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And that's what I mean. Like,
So how much did you grow your account the first week? Let's go week by week.
week by week, it was probably about maybe like 800 or so.
Okay.
And I think that's how it was for the next 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Because I can't remember when I had, I think it was last week, maybe it was my first week, I had over $1,000 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same with this week, man. This week was just really good also.
Yeah, you made what, 2,300 this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, so yeah, it really started to pay off. And that's what I said. I was doing futures too. I started looking in the futures and seeing what that's all about. And that's what I mean. Like what I've learned from you is the same thing, charting out with those too.
Right.
And that's what I started applying to that. It's kind of a little bit different when you're leveraging your money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So once I got the actual first W from that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just stay with the options for a little bit and get back into that before I start venturing off into that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I just seen it was a feature on Robinhood. That's all. That's the app I had. But I did download Webull, but I just never put any money actually into the account.
Right.
And that's why I was thinking, because I remember you saying how you almost have 2 separate accounts for if you want to do swings and leaps. And that's what I commented on, what is it, Benson? Yeah, is that his actual, Marcel? That's his name? Okay.
Yeah, Marcel.
Because I was saying I'm about to actually take my first leap or swing trade, and that's what I was thinking about doing it on Webull for the longer plays.
Yeah.
So that way I don't have 2 different apps and 2 different alerts going off for my day trading. So
Yep.
I
Yeah,
think
you want to keep it separate just so that way if you're down in a swing and it's not affecting your day trading account, because you could feel like you're down in your day trading account, but it's really just a swing that it hasn't made its move yet. So that's why I like to keep them separate. But yeah, man. So within the first month, how much would you say that you made?
probably close to 3,500 in the first month.
In profit?
Yeah.
In profit. Okay.
Profit.
Yeah, that's beautiful
So,
right there. And what would you say your biggest like lessons and like your biggest takeaways have been over the past couple weeks?
On some of my L's, man. I'm telling you, when I take my losses, I really like. I've always said nobody could be more crucial of me than me. So when what I was doing, man, I was just not letting the candle close, bro. You know what I mean? Like a lot of them EMAs and stuff.
Yeah.
I should have trusted more in that. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, what's one tick? Because I know sometimes if you make that play before you get the confirmation, you get that risk to reward sometimes. But
Yeah.
I'm starting to see that it might not be worth it. You're just better off with the base hits.
Yeah.
And that's what I was really trying to start to drive home. Because my base hits are still base hits. It's just now that my account's growing, I'm able to buy 10 contracts now. Before I was literally buying 1 contract,
Yeah.
maybe making 3 or 4 trades
Yeah.
a day, because like with the cash account, I'd have to wait till the next day to get that and my profit back. And I just started building.
Yeah. No, that's
So-
beautiful, man. So to be able to make 3,500 in profit in your first month, and you've only been trading less than 2 months, that's very commendable. And it excites me, and it makes me like it gets me hyped up. Like I get hyped up when I'm seeing you win, because I'm like watching you understand this stuff. Like you be taking your own plays. You'll take some of our plays, too, but I'll be saying something, and then like I'll be like I'm about to enter, and then you already getting out because you got in a little bit earlier. You just be sniping, but you be hitting those bases. So, what's your philosophy now on base hits versus home runs? Like what's your, I guess, your trading style in the beginning when you started options? Were you trying to hit
Yeah.
home runs, and are you
Yeah.
now like what's your
That's
thought
exactly
process?
because, like I said, that's when like kind of the deep sea kind of hit the news. So that's what I was looking for was home run.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned is that the base hits keep coming, but when you start upping them home runs just happen naturally.
Yep.
They just are gonna happen.
Yep.
So when I stopped doing that and saying like I'm just striving, if I'm 1% better by the end of the day,
Yeah.
then I feel like I progressed.
Yep.
I try to shoot for 10, but now that I'm being a little bit, maybe I'll give myself 20% now.
Yeah.
Try to make a profit a week, because
Right.
when you start breaking that math down mathematically, you know what I mean? That's 100% by the end of the week if you're 20, 20, 20, 20.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
and like I said, I've always been like good with numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. It gets
So-
easier once you do break it down and you have your formula and things like that. So that's what's up, man. I think that that's incredible. So now, like, now that you have your feet under you, what would you say is like your next? What's your goals now? Now that you've like had things, open up your mind and stuff like that. Like, where are you trying to take this now?
I'm just trying to stay consistent.
Yeah.
Keep leveling up. Still making the same moves, but just adding a couple more contracts here, a couple more contracts there. And that's why I said I'm going to try with the knowledge that I have now, especially from what I'm getting from both these guys. I can't express how much these guys really changed my life and really made me understand this. So now I'm just going to try to progress a little bit more and more.
Right.
And just do the best I can. Stay focused
Yeah.
and not let all this surge of money kind of change
Right.
kind of who I am in a way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I said, at first I was trying to explain to people, but now it's starting coming. I'm not even saying nothing to anybody.
I feel you.
Because then I don't want the people to turn around and start asking, oh, let me get this off you. Let me get that off you. It's like, hey, I tried to teach you this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you say, the gatekeeping information.
Yeah. People be gatekeeping, but I'm not here to gatekeep, But some people, they're not going to. They're just not gonna. They're not gonna.
Yeah.
They're not gonna want to do the work, and they're just gonna want to, have you give them something. But I definitely understand that, man.
Because like your whole being down to earth and humble. And that's what I mean. There was other content creators out there. They want a lot just for the week. And like I said, they're not trying to explain anything. They're just trying to give you the answers, and you're not learning nothing.
Right.
And like that's why I like being in the Discord now, because of the way you explain stuff and saying why you were gonna take this but didn't. Man, they're just it's all good information. So I'm just absorbing all I can.
Yep.
Try to be as best as I can be.
Yeah, no, you on your way, bro. Like I see it, man. I see how you show up, and you learn very, very, very fast. Like you learn at a very rapid pace, and it's just amazing to see, and I get so much joy from it, because it's like we want to change people's lives, and the fact that it's happening. And it's happened with you very fast. It's just like that's incredible, bro. So,
and I want to kind of keep that humble too. That's why I still want to stay focused on the base hits.
Yeah.
My main focus is really just making enough so I can actually quit my job. It's not that I'm going to start trying for home runs. I'm just going to keep the same philosophy, but I can actually sit at home, chart stuff out more, maybe start finding lower stocks that are like penny stocks is what they say. You know what I mean? Seeing what next big long investments could be or whatever. So just trying to take it one day at a time, man. That's really.
When do you plan on quitting your job?
I'm probably gonna give it a little bit. See, that's the thing, like how loyal I am. Like me walking away from the job, I'm gonna feel bad because I feel like I'm letting them down. So they kind of need me.
Yeah.
Now, especially with all this work that we're doing, the season's breaking, and honestly, nobody wants to do this. Nobody like to be a finisher now. It's like handheld. People are actually wanting that now. And like we do like really luxurious concrete designs and stuff and everything. So, and being in the city in Pittsburgh, I made a name for myself being a finisher.
Right.
So I'll probably maybe about a month,
Month.
maybe two, depending on how things go and how they're set at work.
Yeah. The
As long as
beautiful
I know
part
they're
about
all right.
and the beautiful part about trading is you know, you can be done in the first couple hours of the day.
Yeah.
Still have your whole day. Because when you were telling us, you know, you're laying concrete and you got your earbud in your ear, and you're posting profits of $200, $300, I'm like, this guy is a savage.
Hey, let me tell you, and you know the feeling when you're actually like, we were putting these posts in the ground, the cement posts to protect the school. You know what I mean? We're putting these barriers. And when you already made more money than I was going to make for the 10-hour shift that I was going to be there, it makes your day go a lot nicer and smoother.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
You're not mad. You're not annoyed.
yeah.
It don't bother you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen a difference in like, I don't know if I know you mentioned like people that you work with, you kind of mention it to them. Have you seen a difference in like how you work with them, and also how you
yeah, because like I said, when I was traveling, my one buddy, so when I was coming back, charging these out, he was looking, because at first he's like, oh man, you want to be careful, man. It's like gambling. That's what I said. A lot of people say that. I was like, no, this is what I do, and this is what I'm going to do. And he started seeing that, and he's like, bro, you got to show my girl this, because she don't do nothing but sit at home with her phone and laptop anyways.
Right.
And that's why I said I'm going to try to get a couple people come to the Discord, bro. So,
yeah. What would you say?
Like I said, my most important thing is probably actually my mom is who I go to next and set this up, because I know she's smart enough to get this, even if it's a little bit of money here and there. Trying to tell her, like, Mom, you worked your whole life, and now just to live on Social Security, you have to live with somebody. You can't live on your own. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. It's a great feeling.
I was like, Mom, I found a way out.
Yep. Yeah. That's how I see it. It's a way out. It's literally the way out, man. So what
She
would you
keeps
say?
me grounded too a lot, because at first when the money comes in, it's like, oh man, forget this job. She's like, no. She's like the voice of reason sometimes. You know what I mean?
We need that.
And which what and like my prevailing wages at my job right now, I'm actually making pretty good money. I mean, I do make a comfortable living, but I have to work myself to death. As I said, I had a tendon snap. I almost had a pipe go through my face the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my body just can't take it anymore.
Right. It's time for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for a change. What would you say is your biggest like motivating factor? Like where does your drive come from to like be laying concrete, earbud in your ear, charting on the way? Like where does all that motivation come from?
I mean, I've always been like that, like real driven and stuff. So I guess just to be better, you know what I mean? To try to change the generational curse, as they say, in my family and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's really been my biggest motivation, is everybody who expected me to fail and thought I was going to fail is more of my fuel.
Yeah.
And especially when they start getting mad because I didn't fail.
Right.
Now it's just starting to make me feel even better and better. And plus, like, I'm someone that has high anxiety as it is. So that's my natural element. When I'm multitasking, doing concrete, calling plays and stuff, that's just when I'm in my groove. You know what I mean? It's when everything slows down and gets stale for me is when I start, like, I gotta find something, because straight out of high school, that's how I just had to hit the ground running, work.
Right.
So, and I didn't even make it out of high school. You know what I mean? Like I said, I had a troubled youth, you know what I mean? Ended up dropping out, never got a GED.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you never got a GED, but now you're here, and you know for a fact now that stock options is the way out, and you realistically see how you can make this a viable business, a living, but you could really, like, you know, become really financially free.
Then you really start to see the scheme of what the elites are doing, because then you got people that are paying $150,000 to go to school and be debt to learn this stuff, when literally, I picked it up in almost 2 months here. I mean, I don't have it yet. I'm not saying I got it all like that, but at least the concept, and as long as I stay to my goals and my strategies every day, I feel like, you know, and I'm always a person, if you're passionate about something, you follow your heart, I can't lose. And I applied that to concrete, and that's why I kind of went so far there. That's why I'm at the ceiling there. It's like, well, do I start my own concrete company,
Right.
or do I just keep? But now I got a whole new, whole new game plan now, man. Thanks to you guys.
No, it's a beautiful thing,
So-
man. And shout out to you, seriously, man. Shout out to the work ethic and
Yeah.
everything. And so is there like what advice would you give to like anybody who's brand new, who's watching this, that's like looking at like videos of like, you know, people and success stories and stuff like that? What advice or what words would you give them as like your last parting words?
I mean, I would say, go for it. You know what I mean? Why not try to go for it?
Right. Because
So-
at the end of the day, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're sitting there looking at videos all day anyways and really ain't got no direction. At least learning this skill will give you some type of direction
Yep.
to at least go. So
And you could buy your freedom, and then you'll be able to control your day, and then you know you can have
time,
the
man,
to know what you need.
that's more valuable than money, man, to get all that time back.
Yeah.
The 50, 60 hours for the last 20 years that I've been putting in.
That's a lot of time.
When I could have just really been focused on it, because I think it's better just to jump in, because I've always had a problem learning from reading books.
Yeah.
So your videos and this content makes it easier when I can visually actually see. That's why my losses, I know why I lost. I visually see it and I can correct it.
Yep.
Reading it in a book doesn't always,
Yep.
you know, Shakespeare could tell you about love, but you don't know about love until you fell in love.
That's real.
And that's it.
That's a gem right there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's real talk right there. You got to experience it.
Yeah.
You got to feel the feeling so that you could grow from it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
ever since I got that feeling, I'm not letting go, man. I know I got a path here and I know I got a direction.
That's right.
And that's
bro.
what I mean. I love the community, man, how we're all like wanting others to succeed. You know what I mean? Helping each other out.
Yep.
That's why I think getting together would be a great idea. We make that all happen.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gonna happen, man. It's exciting. I'm excited to see your growth, like where you're going.
Yeah.
And just continue to see like who you become and how you crystallize, bro. So shout out to you. Much respect for having bravery, courage, and being willing
Yeah,
to
thanks,
just
man.
learn, bro. Seriously,
Yeah.
So that's gonna conclude our interview today, guys. I just wanted to bring on Best Beat Killer because he literally in his name, he's been killing it. And if you guys are on the fence about getting into options or joining a Discord, just don't hesitate. Like he said, man, just go for it. All right. So we're gonna sign off here. Always remember, get out of your head, get into this world, because your head is a dangerous place to live. And also, the more you study, the less you worry. We'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.
Later, man.